Hi, good afternoon. My name is Carl Slicer, and I'm the owner of a company called BestHire, located in Vernon, Connecticut, just outside Hartford. I've been operating this business for better than 20 years. We do many industries: supermarkets, cleaning and restoration, ambulance, fire department. But one concern that I've had over the years is nonprofits and churches alike, because they have something very valuable to them, and that is assets that they require to operate their business. Many nonprofits go from month to month, sometimes not having enough budget to operate what they need to get done. Sometimes others do very well. But what I'm looking to do today is talk to you about 3 points that you can bring to your board of directors and make better decisions on who you can hire and what you can do with the information that you have today legally. For instance, how conducting a thorough background check will ensure your nonprofit knows the history of the applicant you're considering. And this is not just where they have lived in the last 10 years, but how they have walked through their life as an adult. Setting up internal safeguard procedures for financial management and the welfare of your group. Third, what to look for in your nonprofit to limit your liability exposure to risk, fraud, and embezzlement. Here's a cartoon. This gentleman is having a bad day at his nonprofit organization. The news tells us that the average embezzlement runs about $145,000, but many of the cases detected involve more than $1 million. Now, the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear $1 million is, well, it's not going to happen to me, and it must be a really big organization. It does not have to be a really big organization. All it has to be is time over years where nobody could catch what the person was doing because there weren't safeguards in place. For instance, is a very well-known actor, writer that used to live in the Connecticut area. And there's a foundation that was created, and there was a large embezzlement case, more than $1 million, that took place. This went on for, I think it was about 7 years. But what baffled me when I read through the article and read through the tax returns was there was an audit done. $80,000 was spent on this accounting firm to do so, and they never found a glimpse of what they were looking for, where the embezzlement was taking place right in smack in the middle of it. Mentally, things like how stupid could we have been is a common response when embezzlement is exposed. Realizing that you've been embezzled is mind-blowing. Couldn't happen to me. Emotionally, we feel so betrayed by someone who we trusted is another common response. Embezzlement affects your business culture and destroys staff morale. I think the most valuable thing that is impacted are your contributors. Just imagine getting up in front of your annual conference and telling people, well, we were just embezzled for $500,000, so therefore we will not be able to do the 2021 entire year because we lost all of our payroll money in the process. How could anybody ever wrap their mind about coming back and gifting again over and over to support an organization like yours when there's been such a huge disappointment? Here's my contact information. You can look us up online. You can go to our website. We've got a little quiz that you can take to see if you've got vulnerabilities, and you can share that with the board of directors. You can also see our reviews, and we also have a very good rating at the Better Business Bureau that we're very proud of. Here's that link on our website. By all means, take a look and just answer about 15 questions. It'll only take a couple minutes, and then you can share it around and you can have a great discussion with it. Here's another thing I want to point out to you is this is a search that we did today, and we used two keywords at Google News: embezzlement and nonprofit. And look at what we're coming up with. Accounting coordinator, ex-accounting coordinator, probably the same case. Program officer, postponing a sentence on an ex-city council president. Here's one for tax fraud. Well, that's going to be a toughie. Here's a poverty housing program that was stolen from. Can you imagine? You know, a dollar alone just goes so far with many of these organizations because they have the ability as a nonprofit to limit their overhead costs. It just goes on and on and on. It's a constant reading. I have over 7 years worth of news articles on my website indicating how nonprofits and churches and other organizations were just hurt so bad. Here's a Make-A-Wish Foundation. Can you imagine the CEO? Now, one thing I do want you to keep in mind, and that is quite often there's more than one person that's a facilitator in the process here too. And so it's not just one person that you want to look at. The other part of this is that I'm emphasizing is once you've done the background check initially, it doesn't mean that it has to stop there. And I'll give you a great example. Truck drivers, airplane pilots, and railroad engineers all have to be entered into an ongoing drug testing program, which starts with pre-employment. It goes through random. It goes through what they call reasonable suspicion, return to work, and post-accident. After you've had an accident, such as a bus driver, he or she has to be drug tested within an hour of that accident. So you're allowed to do background checks ongoing as long as it's a specific class and you have the title release that you need to make sure that your employees are aware of it and that you're doing it ahead of time and when it happens. So I'm more than happy to help your organization have a discussion sometime. I would love to drop in if you want to invite me as a note speaker for a Zoom meeting, something like that. I'm more than happy to stay after work and take those calls and questions. I grew up in a church and I know how valuable our resources are, and we can't squander them. And even my dad has said to me, you know, can you imagine somebody stealing like that? And then the biggest thing impacting is the church members. They're going to be worried, you know, is this going to happen again? How could this happen to us? And how do we recover from it? So again, my name is Carl Slicer. You've got my information on the screen, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with anybody out there that has the concern. You have a great day and keep up the faith. Take care.